Hello. How
Hey,
are you today, Cheryl?
I'm excellent. I'm excellent. We were talking about the best
Awesome.
parts of entrepreneurship in our last video. And so, of course, now we want to do the opposite. What's the worst parts of entrepreneurship? And just toss one out and we'll just popcorn it around.
Not getting paid by clients.
Yeah.
That's one. And sometimes it's I think we pick the wrong clients or we take too long with a client that we know really wasn't a fit. Like sometimes we have that feeling when we take a client on that this isn't a good fit.
Mhm.
And sometimes it's not getting paid not because of something we did. The client just said they were going to do what they were supposed to do and they don't do it. And sometimes we have to just take our losses and move on. You know, it's interesting. Some people want to take people to court and all that stuff. The thing is to be mindful before it gets too bad. And
Right.
don't let that have be all your eggs in one basket that client doesn't pay and then you're in a
Yeah.
problem.
Totally
So
agree. Totally agree with that. I think for me, I'm gonna push it further upstream. Yeah, upstream. Um, it's even just the runway to make money, right?
mm,
It's literally how do you package this? How like what are people looking for? What is the big bang? Where's the return on their investment? How do you track it? How do you let other people know that they got a return on investment? If they didn't get a return on the investment, how do you tweak what you're offering to be sure they do? Right. So it's all these things. And as you mentioned, life is happening for clients too. And
yeah.
so, I mean, literally, we don't have a magic, looking glass where we can say, "Oh, don't engage now because there's something coming up," right?
Right, right.
So it's all of those things. So definitely I would say I want to say lack of stability in the financial,
Ah,
right? I mean, there's just this idea that we're only as good as we can be in how we package it, and then in how we I won't even call it just invoicing, but how the rules of engagement, right?
yes.
Getting paid, right? How we develop the rules of engagement. I will add to it the uncertainty. Like, well, let's just stay in uncertainty, right? That's pretty much the foundation.
Yeah.
The uncertainty of the roadmap, right? Entrepreneurs,
Mm-hmm.
you can look around and see success, but I mean, we don't have like a here you go, this is what you do every day, and don't worry about
Yes.
anything coming in your space. Like, no, you're wearing different hats all day long, changing,
Yes.
the demeanor, the voice, the energy. And so there's this uncertainty. And we were talking, um, large companies fail as well, right? I mean, we know the
Yeah.
failure rate of small business is higher than major corporations. But like when and I'm going to throw out some old companies. This one's not as old, but when Bed Bath and Beyond fails, they
Yes.
knew they were failing. We all knew they were
They're
failing.
failing. Yes.
Sorry, Bed Bath and Beyond.
Yes.
The
We
coupons
saw
weren't.
it.
They just weren't. So we knew they were coming along the path of failure. I would say, maybe 7 to 10 years ago. And
Mhm.
so entrepreneurs don't get that runway. Like,
Yes.
we just don't get that runway. I mean, I'm guessing there's some areas startups may get a runway because they get funding. But if you're
Yeah.
a solopreneur, entrepreneur, you likely don't get a runway. You're either burning through your own investments or you're simply a starving entrepreneur.
Well,
And I asked you a question earlier because I know I'm pretty sure you'll have the answer. So when do we know that your entrepreneur journey is literally a hobby? Like officially.
and I will say I don't have an official answer for that. I know intuitively, I think that when I see a business that is consistently not making money, that they're not priced in a way for profit to come in, or they're not getting enough revenue in to cover the expenses, and that's happening over and over and over. So if there's like 6 months where you're losing, and you're putting your own personal money in and you're running out of personal resources, and you don't have a way to turn that around. So I think for me, I don't know if there is a hard and fast formula. I probably should, I will check that out after this. But I think most people look at 6 to 8 months. Like most people don't have the finances to go a whole year of that.
Right.
COVID showed a lot with people that, and one of the things, that's why we recommend, there's this thing called profit first, where pay yourself first, put some profit aside first. Just like we have personal savings funds where we put aside 3 to 6 months of our expenses, business owners should do that too, and put aside money for those down times. But if you're constantly don't see where you're going to bring more business in, you're not able to bring more business in, people don't seem to want what you have to offer. Or the thing I find most often, and one of the things that people don't like about being in business, is the accounting side. Most people don't like the accounting stuff. Like you said, they don't want to come home at night and deal with the accounts. They don't know whether there's a return on investment. That's a true sign sometimes, and you don't know what's going on in your business. But if you recognize that you're selling stuff for less than what you really paid for it, or with that and all of your overhead, you're not charging enough, you're doomed. You can't continue that on. And that's what I think some entrepreneurs are failing. That's a surefire way to say, you know what, and the other trigger is when your bank account is not showing enough money to cover all your bills, and you're not spending frivolously. Like some people commingling, and they're spending, they're paying for their child's tuition while they're also covering their bills. And they're like, I can't make it. Well, the child's tuition is not supposed to come out of this. Or if you need salary to cover your child's tuition and this isn't covering it, then you need to either bring in another stream of revenue or raise your prices. But all that to say, I'd say if in about 6 months you haven't turned some things around, you need to really consider what else can you do. You need to make some shifts. You need to, yeah.
Y'all, that was a whole masterclass right there. That was a whole masterclass. Literally, thank you for that. Like, so even when you were saying consistently, I didn't know if you meant year over year, or month over month, and you were saying month over month, and you gave kind of a guideline around it. So that was like really, really great information. And I will also say, to Joyce's point about operating expenses, more or less, if your numbers for sales, if for some reason you are not able to get in sales conversations and submit proposals or quotes or whatever your business model looks like, that likely means that you're not doing the numbers needed to generate revenue, which in turn flows to everything else. Everything Joyce just mentioned, right? So the heartbeat is sales revenue, unless you're in a different model, right? Nonprofit.
Yeah.
The heartbeat is sales, and you have to be tracking those numbers so that So I'm going to also point out, like, I was listening to you and you're like, if there's something that isn't selling or it's not selling for the right price, my biggest pet peeve is not knowing your numbers, and you're selling something for the grocery store margins, or you're underwater, right? That's just a pet peeve of mine.
Yes.
So number one, know your numbers. And number two, I think the second piece of it really it's literally understanding that if something isn't selling, maybe you morph or shift. And what comes to mind is the Cheetos, the company that makes Cheetos. So I don't know if anyone knows this, but those crunchy Cheetos, I think it's the crunchy ones, those were a mistake, right? I think it was the crunchy ones or the hot spicy ones, the mistake, right? And so they made a mistake, and somebody that worked at the company said, well, let's try to produce a bunch of them. And it's a whole different line of
item.
Right. So
doing well.
Right. Doing extremely well. I don't need them, but doing extremely well. But like, you can look at your model and just make a decision to either pivot, change, maybe it's stop and restart, right?
Yes.
I mean, companies do that all the time. And so I'll leave that there. It's just, like, as an entrepreneur, you have to be creative, right? And so it's the worst part, the essential requirement of being creative, but within a structured framework, right? Yeah. Because you can't just be out there winging it.
And that's what I think a lot of people don't like is the structure. Some people get into entrepreneurship thinking I can just do whatever, however, whenever. Nah, we have rules to follow too. And yep,
Yeah.
there's a box. We can stray outside the box, but I posted today about calculated risks.
Right.
You can do things, but calculate it. Know
Yeah.
your cost. Know what you're going to do.
Yes.
So
I
yeah.
love this. I love it.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
And the last thing I'll add real quick is the imposter syndrome. I think for a lot of people, the thing they don't like about entrepreneurship is putting themselves out there. Like, you talk about being shy girl, and some people are like, I can't do this. I don't think I'm good enough. And it's hard. It can be hard. And there's no, as you said, there's no rule book, but you just got to do what you got to do and just build your plane while you're flying sometimes. Do it afraid, as they say, false
And
evidence appearing real.
I totally false evidence, false. I stepped on her. False evidence appearing real. Fear. I love that. Right. I will say, find someone to help you. Like it's entrepreneurship, solopreneurship it can be very lonely. You can be in your own silo. Find the right people to help you with the right things. Right. So don't look to one person to be everything that you need.
Right.
You've got a lot of options and access to different resources now. Build your curriculum, build your own curriculum to get where you want to be. And if you need someone to help you build the curriculum, find that person. Right.
Yes.
So,
and I think we needed to have an episode about AI because AI can help with a lot of this. So we're going to have to talk about that.
We will definitely be back to talk.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's see. So because we could talk about this forever.
Yeah.
So we go too long. I'm Cheryl Parks. Most people know me as a sales growth coach around these internet streets. I help people find their unique and natural voice so they can sell confidently and competently so that they don't they eliminate feeling salesy and scripted. They can build the business that they need and they dreamed of and live their best life.
All right, Cheryl. And I'm Joyce Chesley Hayward, Future for Business. I'm a profitability expert. I love to help businesses to do what they love to do so they can have that balance, love their business and love their life, because I believe that is profit freedom. And that's the name of my book. I'm a CPA and we do all things accounts and accounting and help businesses to be profitable.
Yeah. Name of the game. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.